Well, for more on this issue, I'm joined by Leader of the Nationals in the Senate, Bridget McKenzie. Welcome, Senator McKenzie. Michael McCormack has been slammed for the controversial phrase, "all lives matter." I think it's self-evident, but others seem to disagree. What's your opinion on this, and is the criticism justified?
Of course it's not, Cory. Great to be with you and Happy New Year. Of course all lives matter. Michael's absolutely right. I mean, it just goes to show how inappropriate it is to really take political movements from other countries and try and make them fit to our society. The reality is, I guess, for us here in Australia, that we have known for a long time there are issues within our Indigenous community, and state and federal governments have for a very long time sought to address those. Royal Commission over 25 years ago, seeing substance abuse, family breakdown, employment and education opportunities as things we all need to work together, governments and individuals and families, to really better those outcomes. So it's not new news to us here in Australia, but for those on the left who seek to say this was a peaceful movement, are absolutely ignoring the facts. Over in excess of $2 billion US of property damage through these riots. People actually lost their lives. And I think what's really important for those of us that value democracy, freedom and liberty is that we need to participate in public debates around complex and difficult issues in a respectful manner.
You're absolutely right, Senator. And just to show how grotesquely misrepresented this partisan attack on your boss has been, I want to play his grab in full. I think we've got it here ready to listen to. Have a go at this.
I appreciate there are a lot of people out there who are being a bit bleeding hard about this and who are confecting outrage, but they should know that those lives matter too. All lives matter.
Exactly.
There you go. He's essentially used the phrase while he was condemning all violent protests, and he made the point that the Black Lives Matter protests cost 19 lives that should not have been lost. And they wouldn't have been lost, Senator, if these losers were not out there destroying property and hijacking cities and towns and then trying to kill people. I would have thought that's a very fair and valid point to make, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. You know, back him 100%. And I think we need exactly what you were talking about in your opening remarks, Cory, and that is respectful debate.
Twitter feed sort of contributions to these sort of debates and these sort of 30-second sound bites and that we want to have these complex debates about really don't serve the purpose, which is actually to make sure that, in our case, every Australian has every opportunity. And I don't think at all it's the left that has a complete mortgage on compassion in this area at all. I find it offensive, actually. And so we need to be proud of what we've done both in government as communities to support those who are more disadvantaged than ourselves, wherever and whoever they may be, and work very hard to make sure that every Australian has every opportunity to be their very best.
Well, I want to move on, but not before I say I like this new version of Michael McCormack. I think we need more politicians with a bit of steel in their spine, prepared to have a crack and then not give up at the slightest sign of resistance. So more strength to his arm. But you've been talking about the regions forever, as far as I can remember, Senator McKenzie, and now you've got this struggle with border closures. It's destroying lives. It's making things very difficult. Where are you sitting with it all now? What needs to be done?
Well, I'm sitting in Bordermania Central in Wodonga on the wrong side of the border, as usual, thanks to my state Premier, Dan Andrews. Look, we've been talking about this for a long time, Cory, that, we've had the COVID-19 pandemic. State premiers have played political games with people's lives and livelihoods, their health outcomes, by closing borders, I would argue, not in response to correct medical advice. And now we're seeing it again. I mean, Meat and Livestock have a fabulous ad, and I'd recommend your viewers either log on to their Facebook or mine to check it out. And it's about the humble Australian lamb chop. And you and I are old enough to remember the Berlin Wall. And this ad really is a satirical commentary, shall we say, on our current present day, where state premiers are putting up very much Berlin walls between Australians. And I hope that they will take Australia Day as an opportunity to knock them down. I was talking to growers here in my home state of Victoria around their lack of agricultural workforce. We're going to see in excess of $38 million of losses to this state and more to come because farmers can't get the crop off, they can't pick the fruit. We're going to see a real tragedy in Mildura, for instance, because they can't get the workers. Now, I know that Daniel Andrews has had quarantine proposals on his desk since October last year to actually assist with getting international workers in to help farmers with these tasks, and he has not moved. He's been able to very quickly come to an arrangement with Tennis Australia to get 1,200 of the world's top tennis players, their masseuses and physios in for the Australian Open, but to actually help Aussie farmers get that produce off the crop onto supermarket shelves and onto export ships, has not even lifted a finger. It's an absolute indictment on him. We stand ready as a federal government with 25,000 pre-vetted Pacific Island workers ready to come in, ready to stamp the passports right now. And yet Daniel Andrews, the state of Victoria, is one of the last jurisdictions to actually look to setting up appropriate health protocols and quarantine systems to actually allow our farmers to do their job. It's absolutely unconscionable.
You know, that's an excellent point. Daniel Andrews is prepared to shepherd 1,200 sporting superstars and their associated people because he's going to get to hand out a cheque or a trophy or appear on the national television stage. But there's no kudos, there's no glamour in watching people pick fruit. But there's going to be a massive cost to our economy if we don't get it done, and food shortages, a whole range of flow-on effects.
15% increase in food prices, apparently. And, you know, I just think if he gave a damn about anybody that lived outside of Melbourne, he'd be absolutely working on this proposal ASAP.
Yeah, I think you've belled the cat there. I just don't think he does give a damn about people outside of Melbourne, and too many politicians don't. I know that you do. You care about the regions. Your colleagues care about the regions, and that's why I like having you on the show. So thank you so much for your time tonight, Senator McKenzie. It's always a pleasure.
Great to be with you, Cory.